Alright, so step one is to bleach the area that you will be filtering on. So you open the bleach packet and you dump out all the bleach inside of your area. Take the small little towelette out. Open it up. And wipe down the area you will be filtering on to sterilize it. Okay, so then wait 5 minutes and then you're going to ethanol it. So. Okay, so it's been 5 minutes after we've initially bleached. So now we're going to take our ethanol and we are going to spread it over the table a little bit. Just enough on the table that you can spread it around everywhere. So I like to put a little bit more in there. Okay. Now take your paper towel or whatever you're using and spread it around the whole table as to cover the total surface area. This also is acting as a sterilization of your setup. And then you're going to want to wait for this to dry as well, and then you'll be able to go out and set up your filtration. Alright, so now that our area is sanitized, we're going to continue to filter or sanitize our filtration system. So first step is we're going to dump in any remaining bleach from this packet into our flask here. I brought it. We'll try to get everything out of the packet. And you take the small little cloth out again, it's coated in bleach. And then you're going to want to wipe out the upper rim. Okay. Some DI water. So you take the DI water and you add it to the bleach mixture within the flask, so to allow for additional coverage of the bleach all over. So you're going to shake it around and then you're going to want to dump it out once you get it all coated on all sides to make sure you're killing any bacteria on the inside. To do an additional rinse with the DI water to remove any excess bleach that might be remaining inside the vessel. Then you need to do additional rinse and then try to shake it out really good because you're going to want it to be as dry as you can when you go to use it. So then shake it out really well and then you're going to put it upside down so as to let any additional water come out.
Now I'm gonna sterilize all the filtration equipment, and then after I wipe it down with the bleach wipe, all surface area of the equipment, I'll place it on a clean paper towel on the sterilized table. And then once everything is completely wiped down, you let it dry for 5 minutes, and then we'll ethanol it after. Now that the bleach is dry, I'm going to do the second sterilization step of wiping everything down with an ethanol wipe. So again, just make sure you wipe down all the surface area of the filtration equipment. Especially any of the parts that will be involved in touching the actual filter, like here and the 4 steps. Also make sure you wipe down the rim and inside of the flask with the ethanol wipe too. Coagulating, you put in a ratio of 1 milliliter of the magnesium chloride to 100 milliliters of the water. So this is about 1.5 liters of water, so I'm going to put 15 milliliters of the magnesium chloride. And I'm going to be careful not to touch the pipette to the bag at all. Okay, once you've added the magnesium chloride, then you shake for 5 minutes to evenly distribute.
Alright, after the initial 5 minutes of shaking, make sure you shake the bag once every 5 minutes for the additional 25 minutes, so it's a total of 30 minutes.
Once the ethanol's dry, you can start to set up the filtration system. So I'm going to attach the vacuum to the flask. Make sure it's on tight to have a good seal for the vacuum. And then I'll start with the 1.6 millimeter filter. And I'm going to be careful to make sure I'm getting one filter. And I want to place it with the top side up, and it's the rougher side, and I'll just place it on here. Cover on. I'll get my sample now that's been coagulated. Pour a little bit of the sample in. Make sure there's no leaking or anything if the filter wasn't placed on in the center, but there's not. And then turn on the vacuum and keep adding in water. So once all the water's gone all the way through, you turn off the battery vacuum, take off the cover, and make sure to disconnect the vacuum. It's important to disconnect the vacuum after it's being done filtered, so when you put the RNA later solution on, it doesn't get sucked through. So now I'm going to put on 500 microliters of RNA later solution onto the filter, and then I make sure it's evenly distributed. And then you wait for 5 minutes. So after you put the water through, save the bag so you can use it again for the second filter. Now that it's been 5 minutes, I'm going to reattach the vacuum and then get my labeled bag ready. I'm gonna turn the vacuum back on and let it filter for a few seconds, and then I'll take the filter off and seal it in the bag. Make sure you write the label lower on the bag because it's going to get covered up by tape. So then you're going to tape the top to seal it. Just go around a few times. And you don't want to tape too close to the filter because in case you need to cut it to get it out for extraction. So after it's all taped and sealed, I'm gonna put it in the freezer.
Okay, so now I have removed the 0.45 filter from its sterile package. I'm going to place it on the small little filter top. Okay. I'm going to press it in really hard.
Vacuum attach.
Okay, I'm going to, so this is the water that has already filtered through the 1.6 filter. So now we're going to put it through the 0.45 to catch any viral particles that might be remaining or anything that was too small for the 1.6 filter. Okay, so now the water is filtered through the 0.45. So remove the vacuum. Okay, so now after you take off the top portion, take out the RNA later, just as you did for the 1.6. Okay, so now that we have finished filtering the water through, I took the top portion off, and now we're going to RNA later, just as we did for the 1.6. Again, 500 microliters. And then make sure you are able to spread it around so that the entire surface is covered. And then you're going to want to let this sit for 5 minutes as well. Alright, so it's been 5 minutes since we RNA latered our 0.45 filter, so now we're going to hook it up back to the vacuum, just as we did for 1.6. So now I'm pulling the RNA later through. Okay, unhook the vacuum. And then now you're going to want to open your bag, break the seal. Okay, you want to give it a nice little opening so it can easily go down. Okay. And then now, you pull it off, drop her in, and you're good to go. Seal it up.
Okay.
And then once you put it down, you're going to tape the top, give it once or twice around. Okay, it's nice and sealed. And then put it in the freezer. Alright, so now that we're finished, the last step is to repeat the process. So you're going to dump out the water since you no longer need it, and then you're going to want to sterilize everything. You don't need to sterilize the workspace again as long as you didn't spill your water all over it. But yeah, so you just gotta have to re-sterilize, so you have to bleach, ethanol, all of your filtration equipment, and then you can begin again with the 1.6. So good luck.